This is Locked On Bets, the daily betting show that means business from the Locked On Podcast Network. Hosted by Lee Sterling and Kevin Rogers, they're dropping fearless picks with an inside edge to put money in your pocket. If there's action, they've got the lock. This is where smart bets start. It's Locked On Bets.
Welcome to the Friday edition of Locked On Bets. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports with you. As always, we appreciate you making Locked On Bets your first listen of the day here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Excited for another big football weekend. Week 3 of the NFL, week 4 of college football loaded. And we've talked about games all week in both college and NFL. And we'll wrap up the week with more games to talk about as we'll hit on Steelers, Patriots, and Foxborough, as well as West Virginia and Kansas inside the Big 12. We got plenty to get to. But first, though, we start in the NFL, and it's time for a hidden gem.
To find a diamond in the rough, you need to dig a little deeper for those hidden gems.
Saints and the Seahawks meeting in Seattle, and the Saints are 0-2. Spencer Rattler's never won a start in his career in the NFL. The Seahawks off a big road win at Pittsburgh, but they've stunk at home the last year or so, so we'll see how things change. But first road game for the Saints, Lee. What do you think in this matchup?
You hit on one of the points there. They are 0-9 in Spencer Rattler's 9 starts. I don't know how much longer they can keep rolling him out there. He hasn't been horrendous. You know, I don't think he's thrown an interception this year, but they're just not doing much. How much longer can they hold off before they put in Tyler Shugg? And if he doesn't fare well, I think they have 2 or 3 guys on the practice squad they're working out, and they could go through 4 or 5 quarterbacks. They are not trying to win. They want to get that first pick in the draft, at worst second, and they want to choose who their quarterback is going to be for the future. So, I mean, Dolphins could offer Tua for free, and they would turn it down. They're in a total rebuild. They got into a problem as far as the salary cap, paying guys too many years out, and now it's come back to bite them. They're going to face a Seattle team, and Seattle at home is tough. I've been to Lumen Field, one of the loudest NFL stadiums, and I've been to almost all of them. So look out. And on top of that, they have a problem because Seattle's best defensive player, Witherspoon, the cornerback, the all-pro, he's going to be coming back here. So tough place to play, maybe one of the most underrated defenses, I think a top 5 defense. And, you just don't have the weapons here. So they're not really trying. I'm going to go under. This is going to be my hidden gem. Under 17.5 total points for the New Orleans Saints. Hidden gem.
Yeah, we'll see how the Saints respond. And again, we've talked about that they're just trying to get through this season, hope to get the number 1 pick and get a quarterback that can revive the franchise like Drew Brees did. I mean, Derek Carr would have been that guy, but injuries kind of derailed him a bit. But Saints need to find that quarterback to get them on track. So this weekend, Lee, you have a big promotion going on at Paramount Sports, Baker's Dozen, and you feeling a little giving here on this Friday?
I am. Whoever can get this correct, I'm going to give away. If there's 10 people that win, we're going to have 10 winners. I'm going to give them the Baker's Dozen, which is 13 games, $97 normally for free. They're ready to go. We're going to announce the winners. I'm going to put it out on Twitter/X as they win. And I think we're going to have some, because I know we have some loyal listeners. Now, you're going to have to project a little bit. It's not going to be that easy. You have to tell me in a DM at Paramount Sports on Twitter, X, or email me at psports@bellsouth.net. Tell me the 3 positions I played in high school in football. And I'm going to give you one, quarterback. That's the easy one. Name the 2 other positions that I played in quarterback. I actually was all county in both other positions. So name the 2 other positions that I played in high school at quarterback. besides that quarterback position. And if you do that, you're going to win the Baker's dozen, 13 games, 8 games in college, 5 games in the NFL on me. So at Paramount Sports on Twitter/X, or email me, psports@bellsouth.net. Only one guess per person. You can't guess, like 5 times. Get one guess. Just name the 2 other positions, and you're a winner. So hopefully I have a lot of winners. Hopefully I have 20, 30 winners. So let's have some fun with it.
Now, college football, we have a pick coming up between West Virginia and Kansas we'll get to. A couple of the games, Lee, that we didn't hit on this week, but they involved 2 ranked teams. And we don't need a pick, but just general thoughts on these games. Texas Tech, Utah, Auburn, Oklahoma, and Illinois, Indiana. 3 games involving 2 ranked teams. Just what you think there. Illinois, Indiana, a big one. Both teams are 3-0. They meet in Bloomington. Also, big one early in the Big 12 with Texas Tech and Utah, and then the Auburn-Oklahoma game where Oklahoma has shot up now, number 11 in the nation.
Yeah, so let's first look at the Auburn-Oklahoma game. It's interesting because Jackson Arnold, the former quarterback at Oklahoma last year, they had absolutely no blocking for him. The offensive line was terrible. Now, and no receivers. They lost their top 5 receivers for the year. He returns to the scene of the crime. He has to face his old team. So we're going to find out, whether that win in the first week against Baylor, was it a fluke or are they the real deal? So this is, it's not an eliminator. Either of these teams could lose and still make the college football playoff, but it'll go a long way if they have aspirations to make the college football playoff. And Oklahoma quarterback John Mateer is incredible. If you don't know who he is, and right now I would say he's probably the front runner for the Heisman. Would you agree, Kevin?
I mean, up there, him and Carson Beck have been the most impressive so far.
Yeah. So he played at Washington State, and I stay up and watch these games on Saturday night, late night. If you don't think he is that good, he left Washington State, and they beat Washington last year. I mean, in Lumen Field, he basically single-handedly willed his team to win that game. After he left, they've already played North Texas this year. They were trailing 42-0 at half. Just shows you what a difference and what a quarterback can make. He can keep almost any team in a game. I think he was the total difference in that win against Michigan. So he is that good. He's my front runner right now. If you had to name someone, if he has another good game, I think if Carson Beck does not have a great game, he's going to start pulling away from the rest of the crowd. The other game, Illinois and Indiana, is interesting because Fernando Mendoza, the quarterback from Miami Columbus, goes to Cal. Had a good year last year, 16 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. I want to find out if he's the real deal. He hasn't thrown an interception yet this year, but Illinois has a really good defensive line, really good offensive and defensive line, and they wore out Duke eventually in that game. Can they get to him? If they can't, he's going to pick them apart. But he was sacked, Cal quarterbacks last year 50 times. So that's going to be interesting. Look for that in that game. And what was the third game?
Utah. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's interesting about this game is Texas Tech historically has had great offenses. They score against nobody, and their defense is horrendous. They still score. They're number 1 in offense, but their defensive line is very good. They've spent a lot of money on a lot of positions, but for the first time, their defensive line might be good enough for them to win a conference championship in the Big 12. So I personally think Texas Tech and Utah are the best teams. They're ranked 16th and 17th. Utah 16 and Texas Tech 17. So we're going to find out if that defensive line is good enough. Devin Dampier, the quarterback for Utah, is a dual threat quarterback. Incredible. But I can't tell how good they are. I think they're much better. They played UCLA and won that game, but then UCLA gets blown out by New Mexico and they fire the coach. So that's a great game too. So 3 big games. We didn't give out selections on them, but like I said, look for the Texas Tech defensive line, see how good they are. See if Utah can slow down the offense. Illinois, watch the line play, see if they're controlling the line play and if they can get sacks. And then the other game, John Mateer against the former Oklahoma quarterback Jackson Arnold, should be a great Saturday.
It's just so interesting that that Texas Tech Utah game, two teams that are competing. Or, I mean, it's still early for the Big 12, but how K-State's really out of it. Like they just have not looked good, and they got blown out by Arizona last week. How they've just kind of fallen by the wayside, and we'll see if they make a comeback. But big one there between Texas Tech and Utah, early kickoff on Saturday. We still got a lot to get to.
There, Kevin. I mean, in the first game against Iowa State,
absolutely,
turn the ball over. Just shows you the talent level is not that much difference between Kansas State and Utah and Texas Tech and Iowa State. The teams that play the best together and don't beat themselves, coached well, and Kansas State coach, I mean, he's normally very good, but he seems to have maybe lost the team this year. They already had a kid leave, said he was not happy. I think it was with they were not on. Was it? I don't know. I'm not sure whether it was honoring their NIL deal or he wasn't happy with whether it was being used. One of their best weapons on offense already left the team. So there's a couple players that you might see hit the transfer portal. We saw it a couple of weeks ago. Not Arkansas. It was Georgia State added TJ Finley.
Yeah.
And 3 or 4 days later, he started. Kids from UCLA and the kids from Virginia Tech, I think, can still transfer until Monday. I think school starts in both those places. So you could have played in 3 games for either team and transfer out and play another 10, 11 games. Who knows?
Unbelievable. Crazy world we're living in. All right, coming up, we have still some NFL selections, college football, baseball. All of that is straight ahead. You are listening to Locked On Bets. Say now about FanDuel as we head into week 3 of the NFL. And the season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. And you have plenty of choices in the NFL. You have games Sunday and then Monday night, wrapping up with the Ravens and the Lions in Baltimore. You could bet on sides, on totals, on money lines. You can bet on player props, or if you want to go the futures route, MVP, Josh Allen of the Bills, Lamar Jackson of the Ravens. We saw them duel in week 1. They're 2 of the MVP favorites right now. Both Buffalo and Baltimore are 2 of the favorites to win the Super Bowl. Eagles 2-0 out of the gate. They're also up there trying to repeat this year. So many different options for you at FanDuel from the game perspective, player prop perspective, futures perspective. All of it is there. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. We continue here. Locked On Bets on a Friday. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports. And we had one hidden gem, but you know what, Lee? We're going to do it one more time. Time for another hidden gem.
To find a diamond in the rough, you need to dig a little deeper for those hidden gems.
We looked at the Saints and Seahawks earlier, and now we're looking at another late kickoff in the NFL, the Broncos and the Chargers. They meet in L.A., the first home game for the Chargers. We know their home field advantage isn't great at all, but Chargers already 2-0 in the AFC West, beating the Chiefs in Brazil and then knocking off the Raiders Monday night. Out of the gate, they had an interception on Geno Smith. Only got a field goal out of it, but they held the Raiders to 3 field goals and won that game convincingly on Monday. But now they come back home, face a Denver team off a tough loss to Indianapolis in week 2, a game they basically threw away, that they were winning. And after a penalty that moved a field goal attempt up for the Colts, they hit the field goal the second time around. Indianapolis wins it, and Denver falls to 1-1. Broncos lost twice to the Chargers last year, including on the road. It was a Thursday night game. Denver led by 13. Chargers came back and beat them. Chargers were laying 3 in that game. They're laying 3 again in this one. I just think that Denver here, second time around, I do like them getting the points. A lot of love for the Chargers. I get it. Justin Herbert's played well. The defense has been great. They shut down Patrick Mahomes in the Brazil game. Geno Smith did nothing last week, and Bo Nix still trying to break out, waiting for that. But I think a little double revenge spot. Sean Payton, 2 excellent coaches, Sean Payton and Jim Harbaugh there. But I'm going to go with the Broncos here with the points. I think you'll see underdogs come through this week in the NFL. After the first 2 weeks, a lot of chalk came through. Let's take the Broncos, Lee, as our hidden gem.
I love them too. I mean, great minds think alike. I think they're due for a good game. They played poorly in both first two games. They should have lost to Tennessee, and I think their defense rebounds, and I think the Chargers are better, but they're not that good. This might be the division, Kevin, that comes down to the last week. We might have the LA Chargers, Denver Broncos, and Kansas City. There's 17 games. They could be sitting at like 10-6, 11-5, all of them. And based on the last weekend's results, we might have to wait until the final gun to find out who ends up winning the division. I think it's going to be that close.
Yeah, and the Chargers, that big win out of the gate against the Chiefs, really helping them out. They're up 2 games on the Chiefs going into week 3. Chiefs play the Giants coming up on Sunday night. Let's go back to Saturday's action. West Virginia and Kansas inside the Big 12. It is time for a blowout special.
Oh, boy. Last one out, turn off the lights. This one's a blowout.
Yeah, and Kansas. They meet in Lawrence, and the Jayhawks a couple weeks ago, they had 21 points in the first quarter against Missouri, ended up losing that game. West Virginia off the big win over Pitt last week in the backyard brawl, but the Jayhawks a massive favorite here. So, Lee, what do you like here with KU and West Virginia?
Well, I thought last week that Pitt was going to blow out West Virginia. It was a rivalry game, and strange things happen in rivalry games, but I know what I've seen, and I do not believe that West Virginia is a good team. They were aided last week in the game against Pittsburgh. Eli Holstein, the quarterback, was horrendous. Looked like it was his first start. Pitt had over 100 yards in penalties. After West Virginia rotating 3 quarterbacks in, not because they were trying different things out, because they were all so bad, they actually went back to the original starter. They somehow, 10 points down, rallied with 5 minutes to go when Pitt went into the prevent defense and take it to overtime and win the game. I don't think they're that good. I don't think they're good at all. I think they're going to be lucky to win one more game the rest of the season. On the other hand, Kansas coming off of a bye. I think they're catching West Virginia off that high. Jalen Daniels looks as good as he's ever looked before. He's finally healthy again. Strange game. You know, I don't think people think enough of Kansas. Why? They were leading Missouri, who's we found out is very good. They were leading that game early, 21-7. And then somehow a lot of strange plays that could have gone either way. They didn't go their way. And then even a defensive score, I think, with like a minute to go in the game or less, they ended up losing the game by 11. The result was very misleading. Now, West Virginia has to travel after playing the backyard brawl, winning that game, the last game they're going to play in a number of years. And I think Kansas is going to lay a number on them here. Blowout special. Kansas big over the West Virginia Mountaineers.
And also, too, Kansas, remember a couple of years ago, they were a huge underdog against West Virginia and ended up beating them. And now it's flipped around where they're a heavy favorite and things have kind of changed there. I mean, for years, Kansas was kind of in the doghouse in football. And now Lance Leopold has, definitely made them more relevant. It's not just a basketball school anymore, that now football at least playing a little bit better. But, we'll see how that one turns out in the Big 12. So, a lot of things going on in the Big 12. We talked about Texas Tech, Utah earlier, and this West Virginia-Kansas game coming up in Lawrence. Up next, we still have a baseball game for Friday to go over. Red Sox and the Rays, big one in the American League East. And the NFL, the Steelers and the Patriots, 2 old rivals from a while ago with Brady and Roethlisberger. But guess what? They're not playing anymore. But Aaron Rodgers is there. So we're going to talk about that matchup as well as we continue here with Locked On Bets. Locked On Bets continues here on a Friday. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports. And we continue now. We're going to throw in a baseball play inside the American League East.
What the WTF?
So the Red Sox still there in the wild card discussion in the American League. Got tripped up by the A's a few times at Fenway Park and now head to Tampa to face the Rays. Garrett Crochet makes the start for Boston. He's been fantastic this year for the Red Sox. He tossed a shutout against Tampa Bay before the All-Star break. Red Sox had a 4-game sweep of the Rays at Fenway, and that's the last time these teams played. So now they're hooking up again here at Steinbrenner Field in Tampa. But this line a little short here, and I wonder why. But I do like Tampa Bay in the first 5 innings. Now, a couple things. Drew Rasmussen, he's been very good in the first 5 innings, 17-8-4 so far this year. And the Rays, 5-2 in the last 7 against left-handed pitchers in the first 5. So they've done their job there. Crochet's been good of late, 5-0-1 in the last 6 in the first 5, but I just wonder why this line is so short. Kind of question it a bit. So let's go with the Rays here. And they played well against the Blue Jays. They're not going to make the playoffs, Tampa Bay, but still playing well down the stretch. And let's take Tampa Bay first 5 against Boston as our wrong team favorite coming up on Friday, Lee.
And one of the last games, isn't it? They're playing at home. Is this in Tampa?
Yeah.
One of the last games they'll be playing in a minor league park. So two teams.
It's a sad day for them.
Yeah. So probably I didn't go to a game, probably had better atmosphere at those games than they did at their former home, which they're going to go back to. I think they fixed the roof, so should be ready to go next year. But maybe they'll get some big crowds. South Florida football didn't turn out so good after Miami laid a beat down, so maybe they're looking for something to do on a Friday night.
Well, hopefully they sewed a big piece of cloth to put on top of Tropicana Field to save it from the next hurricane that goes through there. All right, now it's time for our lock of the day. And coming up on Sunday, the Steelers and the Patriots meeting in Foxborough. And both these teams at 1-1. So, hey, one of these teams will be 2-1 after this weekend. Pretty impressive. It's time now for the lock of the day.
Open it, open it, open it. Lee has the key to the lock of the day.
I'll try and figure out the Pittsburgh Steelers with Aaron Rodgers. 4 touchdown passes against the Jets in the comeback win in week 1. And they led the Seahawks last week, and then Seattle pulled away in that game in his home opener. And now back on the road at Gillette Stadium to take on the Patriots, who beat the Dolphins last week. You have new quarterback in Drake May. I mean, relatively new. Old quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. Steelers a short favorite. Lee, what do you like in this AFC matchup?
Yeah, so like I said, up and down. The only thing that's not looked consistently good has been their defense. Surprisingly, has not fared well. But I think they're going to pull it together. They're using some new schemes, have some new personnel, and give some of these teams they played them credit. So I think the defense is going to rebound. The offense, I think, is going to get better too. I think they're going to be a consistent force. Now, they don't have real good receivers after DK Metcalf, but, he was only targeted 13 times so far this year, 7 catches, and I think they're going to try to target him more. Think that they'll have success against New England. Geno Smith threw for 362 yards on him in week 1. And Miami, the reason they couldn't do more, they did well. That game was back and forth. New England won it because a kickoff return for a touchdown. So I really think that Miami just couldn't take advantage of it. They were just one more drive or one more play away from getting there. They were playing without their whole right side on the offensive line was hurt, and had some guys go down during the game. So I think Aaron Rodgers is going to rebound. Just wasn't his day last week, and still not sold on New England. Don't love their play calling. Think that they need to run the ball to be successful, and they got to play Miami last week. And Miami also, besides their run defense not being good, cornerbacks are horrendous. So that's why they had some success. I like Pittsburgh here, minus a small spot. We're going to end the week with a level 3 lock. Let's go all the way up. Aaron Rodgers gets carried off the field. Nah, he won't get carried off the field. He wouldn't let him do it.
No, definitely not. No, I'm going to walk off myself if we're going to do this thing. But, yeah, big game for the Steelers. If they could win this, now 2-1, obviously, behind the Ravens in the north. But the Bengals with Burrow out, the Browns are not a factor. Who knows? Pittsburgh can end up being a second-place team in the AFC North when it's all said and done, which I feel like they always do every single year. All right, Lee, go against the weekend. Saturday, big college football slate. Sunday, big NFL slate. What's going on with Paramount Sports and the Baker's Dozen?
Well, as I mentioned, I'm going to give away as many winners as we get. All they need to do is just tell me the 2 other positions I played in high school besides quarterback. And if you get it, only one chance, only one guess per person, you're going to get the Baker's Dozen for free. If you don't win, not that bad. $97. You get 13 selections combined Saturday and Sunday, 8 on Saturday, 5 on Sunday. And we've had some 12-1, 11-2, and 10-3 records on this promotion. I used to call it just the Baker's Dozen. A couple clients call it the world's famous Baker's Dozen. So $97 for the Baker's Dozen. You can get player props from me, college and NFL. Doing well on those. We've only had one losing weekend, and I think we were something like 4-5 on those. So you want to get those through the Super Bowl, just $597, and also got baseball the rest of the year, $197, just $197. You're going to get a couple weeks of action in the entire playoffs. So everything's up and available. Like I said, if you want to try to guess the 2 other positions, you need to send it to me on Twitter or X at Paramount Sports on the DMs there, and also the email, psports@bellsouth.net. So everyone have a great and a safe weekend, and hopefully everyone cashes a lot of winning tickets.
Yeah, we're looking forward to Monday's show, recapping everything. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel here, Locked On Bets, as well as subscribing to the podcast on Spotify or Apple, wherever you listen to your podcast, Locked On Bets. For Lee Sterling, I am Kevin Rogers. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you on Monday right here, Locked On Bets and the Locked On Podcast Network.